Well, howdy, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Follow the Leader. I'm your host, Lee Larson, and from Billings, Montana, I bring to you dancer extraordinaire Maribel Parman. Welcome to the studio, Maribel.
Hey, thank you so much for having me here. I'm super excited to spend some time with you.
Absolutely. As stated, this dancer extraordinaire makes it, I don't even think is the appropriate title because you're also a manager, you're a supervisor, business owner, founder, um, and you do a lot with professional dancing and educating for Brescia, which is one of your companies, and for Rizetna, am I pronouncing that?
Yes, right, Setna Dance Company.
And you bring a lot of intentionality behind your dance. I know that you're speaking at the Junior League Conference next week about body as a tool of resilience and transformation, which we'll get to towards the end of the episode. But how that intentionality, that weaving of resilience and transformation, how did you bring that into dance? What's your tell us your story of dance, actually.
You know, since I was born, I will say my mother will describe that I dance inside her belly. So I have been in love with dance for a long time, and I think for me, dance is a path that I follow as a being an athlete, but also transfer into aspects of my life. So when I started training, I felt like dancing was just not a sport, right? It was just a moment for me to really find different ways to find maturity and my and like in the way that I address myself and my own feelings and how I process things. And dancing has been that for me for many years by now. I have been dancing for, I would say, almost 30 years or more. I don't keep a count, but it's one of those things that have brought me to different ways to help myself, but also help others. And I use this kind of path to really find moments of, okay, well, if I am going to work in a choreography, or I am going to work with a specific community, what I'm gonna get to there, like how I'm gonna get it, and what each member is gonna come to really understand and follow, to just know dancing, but to really learn something from the process of it, so
And
it's
and when you talk about dancing, is it just one style? Talk to us about how what was your style growing up in dance?
well, the first style that I really love was Michael Jackson style, which is
Yeah.
like a little bit of a hip hop with some jazz involved. I started training with ballet, and I was born in Mexico. So my first ballet school, I will say, very young. I was probably like 6 years old, and I was very talkative. So I remember my teacher just kind of constantly addressing situations with me, like, "Hey, you gotta pay attention," or "Stop talking to the other girls." And I was so hyperactive. So then it got to a point where they closed that school, and I had to take a gap year where we had to find other schools for me to really train. So I did some just gymnastics in the process of taking my gap year of dance. And then after that, I started dancing jazz. So I started simultaneously training ballet and jazz. And then Latin dance, of course, because I was born in Mexico, is one of the things that it was so natural to me also. And so I did some training on Latin dance. And then I moved into contemporary. I actually met the style of contemporary once I moved to Montana, which that was more in my older year. I was already 23 years old when I met contemporary dance, and I fell in love. So if you ask me, my favorite style is contemporary. It's just like a really cool way to process some of the crazy emotions that go through my brain
Yeah.
at times. So
So, as you trained, I know that you have shared your business, your you've educated quite around the world. You Spain, Mexico, Italy. You've also done some university work. When you talk about these movement-based work, what does that look like? Is this a ballet class, or what is movement-based work in teaching others about it?
So, in the matter of my motivational speaking, when I do movement based, is sometimes people think like, oh, I am no coordinated or I am no a dancer. So, like when you hear the word dance, it's like right away you get scared, right? Because for what I hear in my experience with people, they don't really practice dance much. They say, well, I have two left feet, so I will never be able to dance, or I'm not a dancer. But for me to, when I apply the word movement, is to really understand your body. So you don't necessarily need to be super coordinated to understand your body, right? So when I, at moments, invite people to really understand, okay, well, if I am going to stand up and I am going to really just close my eyes and maybe start feeling some motion of my body, moving my shoulders, understanding how my core can be contracted, and then how can I extend motion into really breathing the air, and then all that is dancing already, because you are bringing movement, you are bringing oxygen into your body, but at the same time you're releasing it, and then you are contracting, and just understanding that the brain start processing movement, and then you start kind of releasing stress at the same time, you start releasing energy. And so when I refer to movement, I refer to, okay, if you're doing that motion, which it doesn't have to be crazy, right? It doesn't have to be like a super professional or even super trained. Just the idea of moving your shoulders or extending your arm or your core to really understand your center as a person. Now, what would you do if you keep doing those same things, but that you add music to it?
Yeah.
So then it's like it brings a different type of meditation, where I will say I translate that to a connection. So if you bring movement into your body, it right away connects you with your mind. And if you want to bring something to the idea or process an emotion, the body and the movement and the connection with your mind, it can create some type of coping mechanism that sometimes we don't really experience too much, because in our daily life we are so stressed about whatever burdens we have, right? So we don't even take the time to just deep breathing. So
Right.
like now imagine if you can take at least like 2 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna breathe and I'm gonna sustain my breathing, and maybe I'm just gonna stretch my arms, or I can just kind of feel the motion of my body as I just kind of shake every part of my body for a moment.
Yeah.
So like imagine if you can do that and then bring some music to it. What a release, right?
Well, and I think that's so vital when you think about fight or flight, and how many people freeze, and all of that energy, all of this can have nowhere to go. And if you do that over a long period of time, like childhood or conflict, or whatever's going on, how much of that is just pent up, and
It is. It's
movement.
one of, yeah, it's one of those things like when we all have trauma. I don't think I have ever met somebody in my life they say, "Oh, I'm trauma free." I think we all process constantly certain moments in our life where even doesn't have to be a crazy event to create some type of trauma, or an event that you will always remember. But I will say like it's different ways to process that, and to really understand that sometimes trauma can be overcome, and that's when resilience comes, right? So like the body has an important role on this, because if you really you don't know how to utilize your body, then it's a temple, like it's there, right? It's there for a reason. It's just not for us to just use it to work or walk or do our obligations every day. It can also be an opportunity to use your body as a healing and as an instrument to really process the things that happen in our brain. So it's just to find that connection of it. when I was in Italy, I had the opportunity to uh, learn a lot because I was teaching with young students, but also I was working and being a student in the advanced program with older people. So it was like many, many instructors. They came from all over the world. And I was very, very fulfilled during that summer because I just learned so much about my body and I learned so much about my capabilities, right? So sometimes you think like, okay, I could not do this, but then you do it and you prove to yourself like, oh, I actually can. Bless
Yeah,
you.
right.
I actually
Thank you.
can. And then you realize, okay, I can do this. And then as you push yourself to more and more, you discover so many new things about yourself, right? So when I was there, I got to experience that about myself because I'm older. I'm 45 years old. So it's sometimes this idea like, okay, I cannot do the things that I was able to do in the past. But then when I was there, I was like, yes, I can. I can still do it, right? So I'm learning all this process of how to manage my body, how to keep dancing at my age. And it's all about really understanding your body. So I go back to that movement, right? So like if I don't know my body and I don't understand what my capabilities are in the matter of like maybe I have certain posture that is not really appropriate for my type of body, or it hurts, or I have injuries or things like that. You have to really rediscover your body every day to be able to understand how can you use your body. Also, that brings some type of resilience because if I, let's say that I have and find new limitations in my body because of my age, I'm going to give you my example talking about what I did when I was in Italy. They did it was like an exercise, which is one of the exercises that I'm going to be using during the conference. It's called the mattoncini. So basically, it's just different mattoncini blocks that you put on the floor. And what we did is that we went through the path of the mattoncini, right? We were walking slowly, just to kind of identify the blocks and understand. Okay, if I put the weight on this part of my leg, I have to make sure that I don't just disturb the blocks, right? So the idea is like, don't touch the blocks. You have to just kind of move through the blocks. So as I'm moving through the blocks, I'm trying to move slowly and with a lot of cautious. And inevitably, you throw one block away because they are so close to each other. So then when you throw one block away, you feel like, oh, shoot, I messed up. So then you keep going and then boom, you do another one. So that made me switch my direction, right? So, okay, I need to go this way because maybe these blocks are way too close to each other. So I need to move to a different location. So I start moving to a different location and I keep throwing these blocks away, right? So I'm like, okay, my goodness, do I really call myself a dancer because I'm being so clumsy? And I'm doing all this movement, I'm on the blocks, but I'm messing up, right? So then I get out of the section where the blocks are, and then I'm feeling already like, oh my God, it's such a failure, right? I didn't
Uh-huh.
complete the task. But then, like, the instructor invited us to look a different perspective. It's like, okay, you're going through the blocks and you mess up. And right away you feel this failure, right? You just mess up. You just didn't follow the direction maybe, or you, even when you following directions, you just couldn't complete it, right? And, but what if each block represents your own failure, but if you never had that failure, then you never switch the direction of your path, right? What if that failure is going to teach you something to move to a different direction where things are a little more clear, or maybe things are different, or the blocks are identified, maybe they are more separate of each other, so you have more opportunity to put your foot there and your full weight on a leg, or maybe start touching with a hand and things like that. So then the instructor invited us to really see this as failure is not necessarily something that is bad for you, right? And even our body is involved in it. So we are moving certain way and we are taking directions to certain path of what the direction we are taking. But failure is not necessarily going to take you always just to go down, right? As long as you really learn the path that you follow. So when I was, again, going back after that change of direction, he said, go back and try to follow the same path. But now you're going to see whatever block you kind of mess up and, you know, whatever block it fell, now you're going to step on it and you're going to hold it for a second. You're going to sit there for a second and then you're going to move and then you're going to try to throw as many blocks as you can. So I'm like, well, that is easier, right? I can just go and destroy everything.
Yeah.
And so I went there and I started kicking blocks and things like that. And so I asked, like, what is the point of throwing all these blocks? That means that I'm just going crazy and just failing through life. And he's like, no, like sometimes it's just opportunities, right? Sometimes we don't take certain opportunities because we are so afraid of failing.
Yeah.
So like if you fail from the beginning, you are walking cautious because you don't want to throw any block away. But then if you really go with an open mind to say, I'm going to move freely and I'm going to take every opportunity I can, then you're embracing different things into your mind and into your life, right? So like how this translate to dance, like in movement, like even like just going through a situation where you are in a social environment, right? If you walk in, the way you enter the room, if I'm hinging myself or if I'm looking down or if I don't want to look people in the eye, that right away projects something. So if you really want to think about translating that into movement, like how can I even play myself in a position where I modify the posture of my body, I find confidence into how my body feels, and then walk into that room and look for somebody's eyes, right?
Right.
So it's just to kind of find that balance on how movement can take you into an opportunity to really understand your life and ways that process or resilience, you know, like how you process emotions and things like that.
No,
So
I think
it's such a journey.
it is. And the other thing I think about is just like movement, whether it's dance, maybe it's learning a new style, maybe it's coming to dance for the first time, or it's any other hobby. I mean, I know that there's been times in my life where I enjoy running as an activity, but there are times where I find myself doing uphills like more. Like if I'm really stressed,
Those
sometimes
are
I
hard.
just need,
Yeah,
like, but it's like I just need the hardness, like, and I'll go sprint this hill over and over
right.
because and I just need to work something out. But it's exactly what you're talking about. Like the body needs friction, it needs something to push up against, and it sounds like
Yeah,
that's like what the body is designed to do.
it is. And like, and even like, for example, you as a runner, right? Like, uh, when you run, like if you run marathons or if you really set yourself into a goal to run so many miles a day, or like if you have a goal and sometimes like if you are thinking like I'm going to achieve that, right? Or it's like, what do you do? Like the questions that go through our mind is like, I want to achieve this, but what if I don't achieve it, right? Like what if like all these questioning and all these fears are like, oh, I'm feeling like I'm giving up or my body's giving up or I'm like so tired, right? So it's like it brings this strength in your brain where you're like, no, I gotta move forward. I gotta keep going. I gotta keep going. So I need to regulate my breathing. I need to make sure that I'm like eating healthy, or I'm need to make sure that I drink enough waters to be able to achieve your opportunity to run every day, right? So like with dance, it's so similar. Like we always laugh because when you're dancing, you know, we use counts of eights, right? So every count represents a movement. So it's very common that we just goes like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we restart the count. So everything that we do in the Mara choreography goes from 1 to 8, or if it's counts of 4 or counts of 6. But usually the most common is counts of 8. So like if you have been working in a choreography for, I don't know, months, and you have to memorize a specific amount of counts, and then it's time to really like perform. The day comes and you perform. Even failing in a couple counts, it can feel horrible, right? Even if it's like the count goes like 1, 2, and it's super fast, but you, instead of the arm being here, you put it down and then you went here, and it's like, oh my goodness, I just messed up the whole choreography that you felt that you worked for an entire month. But then it's like, after you're finished, it's like, okay, so if I'm going to do this dance again, I need to figure out what I'm doing wrong that is taking me to that direction or is making my arm move this way, right? So how that translates into life. If I'm doing things that are causing me to get myself into certain situations, or I'm experiencing a lot of situations where certain feelings are very strong, or I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling emotions that are not necessarily good for me, it's like I need to identify what I'm doing that I'm putting myself in those situations, right? Because just like I have the control over my body and how I move and the things that I need to do to be able to be precise with choreography, is the same in life. Like I have control over me only. I cannot control anybody else around me. So I need to be able to figure out, okay, what am I doing to put myself in this position? And what do I need to change to be able to have a different outcome, right? So everything, it relates so much with dance movement and resilience and that matter. It's like, and it's all about, I call it a dance is such an egocentric sport.
Yeah.
We have mirrors, so we always look in ourselves into the mirror, right? And we have to
Right.
be always kind of like, okay, I need to look at my body, how I'm looking. Am I looking technical? Am I need to put my leg this way? But it's a constantly visualization of ourselves in the mirror. So it can be a sport that can even take you into become a really egocentric and, I would say, a lot of vanity, if you don't handle this sport right, because you can take in that direction, or you can take it like, okay, yes, I need to be looking at the things that I'm doing wrong, but also that can translate into my life too. How I am a humble dancer or a humble creator when I actually look into the meaning of why I'm doing this and what is the purpose of it. So it's two different directions of it.
It is. And I think about when you do your dance companies, you have Razetna and you have Brescia. Can you talk about the differences between the two?
Yeah, so both companies are with the idea to bring community. So one supports the other. So Brescia was created with the intention to create and bring art into the community. Billings, Montana, I feel like it's so many people. They are beautiful artists, and it's opportunities now. I feel like it's opening more compared to Missoula or Bozeman, but I feel like we wanted to bring performances that will inspire people to really get into dance or to even learn more about what we were presenting or what we are presenting. We have done work like, for example, we did a collaboration with MSU Billings where we had to really teach about different Latin American countries. So we decided to create different dance choreography along with educational purpose.
Yeah.
So we talk about some of the culture, the meaning of the dances of each of these countries, and also how each of the people that live in those countries saw dance as a form of resilience and oppression. So Brescia created the presentation, which was the educational part, and also some of the dance. And then Raisetna Dance Company came in as a support. So Raisetna is also an entertainment base community company, which we do dance in different events in Billings, Montana. Sometimes we travel to Bozeman. We are open to travel, but the idea is to bring community together. So to just create the idea like, hey, we are here, we dance, we perform, we are entertained, but at the same time, we want people to meet each other. We want people to come into events where you can really interact with a good social environment where you can actually be close to someone if you feel isolated. Or I want you to know more about dance, right? So we create opportunities where we collaborate with other companies. Like one to mention is Enfuego, which is another dance company that is here in Billings. Their main focus is Latin dance and, well, ballroom dance, I will say. And it's like almost like 30 people in it. I'm not sure about the number, but I know there is a lot of people in that company. We did a collaboration with them, and we constantly working with them also. So the difference between Brescia and Raisetna, I will say, is the Brescia brings the educational portion of the cultural or community event, and then Raisetna brings the dancing portion to present something or to really translate something into dance.
Well, how if for the age group that when you go to so sorry, for your dance studio in Billings, what ages do you work with typically?
So, so there are not necessarily dance studios. I will say there are companies because we do adult. It's adult company. I do teach in a different studio, which is for younger kids. But like for Raisetna, you have to be older than 21 to be able to participate, and that's just because sometimes the event is in hours that are not really appropriate for a high school kid or or younger student. And then for Brescia, it's only two people, so that it's like if we want to collaborate with couples or ballroom couples that want to dance more, that is an adult age too. I do teach for the School of Classical Ballet, which it's all younger people. So you go from, I'll say, 5 years old all the way to high school senior year. So
Yeah. Well, and that's what's particular about when we talk about dancing as a form of resiliency or transformation is I didn't know if you just worked on that aspect alone with adults or if you also channeled that into to children.
yeah, I do. I think working with children from younger age is extremely, I would say, it's a lot of gratification from it that I get because um, even I don't work with younger children all the time. Still, when you work with children, it's very cool to see how they are introduced to dance and they are in this world of like, whoa, everything is amazing, right? Like, and they learn a new step and they want to show you right away. Or even when you get students where they are so great improvisers, when they don't even know yet all the steps, but they are all they want is dance, right? So they just move and you can see the joy that they have, right? And then moving into older generations through high school, you see the switch because you start super like, here, I'm not shy about anything and I can do this and I can move this way. And then you start entering into an age where you become self-conscious because you are obviously experiencing more in life and you are more about, I will say, like more susceptible to really what people are gonna think of you. So then that age is that they start getting a little shy or they start getting like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this because I feel shy and or I need to make sure that I train this way because I want to be better than this person or I want to do this. So it start getting kind of competitive, right?
Right.
And then it transition into an older age, which is usually my seniors, where you already you understand your body a little bit more. You understand like, okay, these are my capabilities because I have been training for this long. And also I understand what is important. I understand that I choose certain priorities, right? Which I feel like high school kids, like kids that dance from really young age all the way to their senior year, is so much investment. And believe me, when I'm telling you about sacrifices, they sacrifice hanging out with friends and doing sports and doing things like that, which there are kids, they actually are able to combine that. But the kids that really pursue dance to really become professionals, it's a lot of sacrifice involved. And it's admirable because you see all that sacrifice and dedication, it transferred to other aspects of their life. Like the majority of the kids that dance, you will see their grades and they are excellent, excellent students at school too, because they know what it takes to really get something and they don't give up on it. So it's very, very cool to see that when you see all these students going through dance, but also that translating that responsibility and dedication to other aspects of their life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's focus, it's tunnel vision, it's discipline, it's
For
like you
sure.
said, sacrifice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you are speaking at the Junior League Conference next Friday. You're talking about your body as a tool of resilience and transformation. Can you talk about some of the points? I know that we've covered quite a bit today, but can you share a little bit about what we can expect from next Friday's talk?
Yeah. Yeah. So I can give you some highlights. So the idea is to really have the audience or the all the people that are going to come to the talk to really not just sit down and hear what I have to say, because I don't consider myself an expert. I'm more of sharing some of the tools during the journey that I follow and the past journey that I had, things that help me to find resilience and to really understand who I am as a person to continue to move forward. So I want to bring some opportunity for the audience to really utilize some movement and breathing and just to kind of little tiny exercises for them to use your body. Uh, Understanding a little of a connection. So create a connection. Once we create a connection, you should expect to really see some of the process that we follow on some styles of dance. So we're gonna have a couple companies joining us that day, which is Raisetna Dance Company, where it's gonna be a section that I call heels. Heels is a style of dance. They basically it's all about being confident, being feminine, and understand your body again, right? So, do you wear heels?
I
That's a
do.
question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you feel when you wear heels? Like when you go out, do you feel like, okay, I'm gonna dress up today, so I'm gonna wear heels? Like, do you kind of go into that train of thought or?
Yeah, I love it. The first time wearing heels after not for a while feels awkward. Like I have to like
Yeah, yeah, I
relearn.
know. I know, me
Uh,
too.
so, but yeah, other than that, I understand it definitely as I feel powerful when I'm used to it.
Right, right. And I think all women, we feel like that when, I'm gonna dress up today. So the first idea is like, okay, I'm gonna wear some cute jeans and then I'm gonna wear maybe some heels. So it changes the posture of your body, right? So we're gonna kind of experiment a little bit of that. Even if people are not wearing heels, I do want people to understand certain body posture that we follow when we wear heels. And bringing some of that connection to a performance that we're going to have, how heels really transfer in other aspects of your life, and some of them is like feeling so feminine and feeling confident about your body. Women, we struggle so much with body image, and including myself, believe me, like when I talk about sometimes certain things about how I feel, sometimes people are like, you're crazy, like shut up, you should not be feeling like that, or oh my goodness, like how can you say things like that? Well, is we all go through that. We all have moments in our life where we don't feel as confident, or we identify a body part that we feel like, okay, how I don't really like this, or this doesn't look good with this outfit or whatever, but it's always because we are so unhappy about something about ourselves, right? So heels dance, it gives you the opportunity to really learn how to bring message into your brain to understand that your body is your body. And if you want to improve something, yes, you can, but your body is your body and you need to love it. And you need to love it because if you don't love it, nobody else is going to do it, right? So it goes first here. So you have to be the first person to love your body. And heels bring some of that connection, right? So how we transfer that into a movement and dance, even when we wear heels, like the posture that we follow. So that's going to be a section on the talk. Also, another section is going to be resilience. So we're going to have the second dance company, which is ARC, a Montana Dance Collective. And they're going to do a representation of how we go through our daily crazy life, right? We sometimes carry invisible burdens that we don't even know that we have. We go through our day and we have to be moms, or we have to, I'm not a mother, but I call it mom. I'm a puppy mom. I do have two puppies, but I do have parents, right? And my parents are elders and they live with me. So I call them my children now. I make fun of them because I'm like, you're my children now. The only thing is that they're a little defiant. But you go through burdens in your life, in your workday. You are stressed about deadlines. You are stressed about things that you have to, maybe financial situations, or even just the burden of being tired and not having energy, right? So the company will do some representation of that, and I am going to invite the audience to really identify themselves with some of the dancers, because they will definitely have something to show you there to really experience like what their burdens are and how to find resilience through it. Other section is like the end. I don't want to talk too much about the end because I feel like that's probably my favorite part, right? Like, just
Yeah.
I'm so emotional sometimes when I talk that I just like to end with like really connective way to really dismiss the audience. So that will be a
Yeah.
surprise.
Okay. Well, no, I look forward to it. I'm excited to hear it next Friday. Um, Maribel, can you talk to us about where folks can reach out to you, learn more, follow, etc.? How can they learn more about you that are listening today?
Yeah, so I do have a Facebook page for, so I connected, so I'm like, each company have their own page, but I manage all through Maribel.Brescia. So if you go to Facebook, you find me on Facebook under Maribel Brescia. Also, you can find the Raisetna dance company, which I know is a little, it's kind of hard to pronounce, like for some people when they are not really, I would say, related, they don't relate the company yet, right? They are not super familiar with it. But if you go to Maribel Brescia on Facebook, then you should be able to see the connection for Raisetna Dance Company. And also, we do have Instagram. So if you go to Brescia Performing Company and Raisetna Dance Company and Maribel Brescia, you find Instagram and Facebook accounts for that. And we also have a website. So if you go to raisetnadance.com, you find more information about the company, both companies, and some of my journey that I follow through motivational speaking and educational services. Also, I'm a high school teacher. I teach Spanish at West High. So I do get to work with younger kiddos from freshman all the way to AP style. So it's super fun to see that, balancing the energy among the kids. So you find more information there. Also, I think I do have a contact information. My phone number is posted in there, I believe, under the website. If anybody needs to contact me and say, hey, we want to dance, or we want somebody to come and entertain our event, or bring some more community unity or cultural educational services, definitely just reach out to me.
Absolutely. Well, I also want to remind folks that Raisetna is spelled Raizetna, Raisetna, and it's the
Mhm. Yeah.
RaisetnaDanceCompany.com, and then Brescia is Breccia. So Raisetna or Brescia, we're gonna get you connected to Maribel Parman. Maribel, is there anything that else that you would like to share with the audience before we wrap up today?
Come to the conference. It's going to be amazing women talking, and definitely We want a lot of people to hear what we have to say. And I will say, if you don't get to go to the conference, that's okay. I can probably give you some of the message right now, and it's just love yourself and find the opportunity to really understand your body. That will help you understand your mind, and also find ways where you can really apply that with music, just to have fun, right? Like, just take the opportunity to move. It doesn't have to be with perfection. You don't have to be super coordinated. It's just move, 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 and enjoy your time between your mind and body. And you will find so much release of stress, and you will find some connection with your brain and your body that is really something that only you can experience. Maybe not doing so many things, because sometimes we are so busy and we don't have time to really go do yoga or to the gym or to a dance lesson. Take a minute of your time at home. Put your favorite music, and even just stretch, and go on your tippy toes or bend your knees. Do whatever you need to do, but bring some movement. Close your eyes and bring good thoughts about yourself. That will fulfill you with love.
Amen. Well, Maribel, thank you so much for joining us today. That was a really nice talk, and I can't wait to meet you. Folks, that is the end of the episode. That's another episode of Follow the Leader. I'm your host, Lee Larson. What'd you think? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe. You know the drill. But until next time, I'll see ya.